As we start the second quarter, the United States leads by 6. Kobe Bryant with 7 points. Dwayne Wade, the leading scorer for the United States, and in the game with 8. And Rowan Barrett leads Canada with 6. 27 of the 54 points scored in this game off of 3-pointers. 0 fast break points through the first quarter. Rick Hamler, Fran Fraschilla on the mic for ESPN. Kobe Bryant with an emphatic defensive play. And here is Michael Redd, and he is fouled by Carl English.
Very interesting because there was a switch out on the ball screen. Kobe posted by the bigger Jesse Young, and that's something that's going to happen in international play. That time, good solid defense. But you see Michael Redd taking off to the races. English gets a piece, and he'll shoot a pair.
With all due respect to Michael Redd, who's a fantastic player and an even better human being, English isn't afraid of getting dunked on right there. He knows Redd's just going in for the lay-in. I'm going to put a body on him and make him earn him at the stripe. But, oh yeah, Michael Redd never misses free throws. So.
Well, you look at Canada so far, and they have not been intimidated. And I'm looking at a guy like Tyler Kepke, who's now out of the lineup. He plays at the University of Utah, so to get an opportunity to play against Jason Kidd. Andy Routens as well, still a collegiate player.
Michael Redd was 9 of 9 for the entire Tournament of the Americas from the free throw line, and he misses one here. English off, and Joel Anthony underneath for the rebound, and that is doing work when you're underneath with Carmelo Anthony and Carlos Boozer, and you come away with the rip and the foul. Joel Anthony looks like a nice young player for the Miami Heat.
Well, as you know, I think he played in the last 24 games of the season. Really got an opportunity to show what he can do. Couple double-figure rebound games at that time.
Had a 6-block game late in the season. He was the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year and helping UNLV make the Sweet 16 back in 06-07. Had a nice ovation from the crowd here before the game. English going nowhere on Kobe Bryant. Misses that shot, crashes glass, and English will be called for the over-the-back foul. That's his second.
You know, Rick, when you talk about the egos of this team and how they'll all play so well together, Kobe Bryant last year in the Tournament of the Americas went to Mike Krzyzewski a number of times and said, I want to guard the other team's best perimeter player. You look at Dwayne Wade will be the 6th man.
Wade, they call him Flash. Sometimes it's AKA Crash, the way he throws himself into bodies and at the rim. And right there, the foul on D-Wade.
Good rotation right there by Canada.
Joel Anthony making another play.
I really think LeBron over the last 3 years has been the team's best all-around playmaker.
Jermaine Anderson way off, saved, but into Jesse Young. He is fouled by Carmelo Anthony. And for Melo, that is his first.
Well, this is a good, solid test so far. Canada not backing down. Jesse Young with a lot of international experience.
And Fran, here's what is ahead of us and Team USA and everybody around the world who wants to watch the United States get ready for the Beijing Olympics. Turkey,
Russia,
and then you've got Lithuania, Russia, and also Australia. All those games on ESPN2. The first 2 from Macau, and the second 2 from Shanghai. And then it's on to Beijing for the real deal.
I mentioned that Group B, very difficult Group B with Spain, Greece, and Germany with Dirk Nowitzki in Group B.
Foul called in the lane.
I got a chance to see Greece last week, Rick, and they may be the best team in the world. When I say team, not the team that's going to win the gold medal, but the team that plays the best together. Team that beat Team USA back in 2006. Many of the same parts still there.
They beat the United States 101-95. Shot 63% from the field. And I know is Carlos Boozer's at the line. And I know Greece is good. I'm not sleeping on them at all. But that was a Villanova versus Georgetown type of effort to shoot 63% for an entire basketball game. They start the second half shooting 10 of 10. And to me, I think Greece is a major factor coming into these Olympics, but I don't think the United States is going to get beat back-to-back by Greece.
Well, what happened, I think, 2 years ago, if you remember, Team USA very conscious of how good Argentina and Spain were with the NBA players. Greece had one little-known NBA player on that roster, and I think Mike Krzyzewski will admit that they didn't have the respect.
Here's Kobe. Ooh, rocks the rim here in Vegas.
Talked about defensive stopper. Now you remember earlier, English tried to shake and bake him. Kobe took on the challenge, and he just shoves English out of bounds, just sending a little message.
6-time all-defensive first team for Kobe Bryant. Good rebound by Young, knocked away by Kidd. It's retrieved and put down by Tyler Kepkin. Another backcourt whistle. Fred, we'll get back to your projected 1, 2, and 3 in the Olympics here in a second.
Take a look at this defense right there. And you see how Kobe was able to use the body. There's really no such thing as hand checking in FIBA play. You can really be physical out front. And there's a good example right there. Kobe Bryant adjusting to the way the game is played internationally. Of course, you think of Kobe and you think of his dad, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant, who played for many years in Italy where Kobe was born.
Foul was called on Howard, giving it back to Canada, but now a 5-second violation will give it back to the United States. 6 turnovers now for Canada, 8 for the United States. And USA leads 35-27, 7:51 to go in the first half.
Little 2-3 zone right here.
Good close by Jesse Young. Forced Wade to eat it. Wade gets it back, and Wade goes up, and he rises and shines.
Well, they will see some zone. That's not the type of aggressive defense I think they'll see once they get to Beijing, but a different look by Leo Rautins. They spent all of one practice this week, Rick, working on the zone. They brought Don Casey in, the legendary assistant coach, coach of Temple, a zone master. Jim Boeheim as well.
Shot clock was at 1. Barrett had to force it in the hands of Kidd. He's got Howard to his right. Shovels to Kobe. Tried to thread the needle to Howard, and it's taken by Jesse Young, who was fouled from behind by Kobe Bryant. That was a frustration foul if ever I've seen one. And I really like what I've seen out here from Jesse Young and Joel Anthony. They have not been intimidated at all.
Well, Joel Anthony, as you mentioned, playing for the Miami Heat, so he knows these guys. But a guy like Jesse Young, the thing that people have to understand, he plays at a level in Europe where he's used to, maybe not this type of star talent on the floor, but he's been in big games in crucial situations in Spain. So this is really not an anomaly to him, nor is it to many of the international players who are now on the scene, both in the NBA and in the EuroLeague.
Jesse Young now 5 points and 2 rebounds. He's 5 of 7 from the free throw line. Canada within 9.
You see the zone now. Little 2-3.
Howard gets the shoulder in on Anthony, and the lefty hook goes.
When you attack zones, people talk about the USA shooting. You must attack the zone from the inside out, not the outside in. And there's a good example right there. They got the ball deep to Howard in the lane.
Turnovers an issue for the United States. They have 9, but the shooting has been spectacular, 77%. Speaking of turnovers, won by Canada. Kidd to Kobe, underneath. And Wade almost missed it, but put it in. And Dwayne Wade having a superb first half, 12 points. And get this, he hasn't missed a shot. D. Wade, I'm feeling you, bro. 4 of 4 from the field. 3 of 3 from the free throw line, and Canada wants time. United States leads 41-28 over Canada. And it's been the perimeter players getting it done. Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade combining for 21 points here in Las Vegas.
You can stay current. ESPN News.
Welcome back to Las Vegas. I told you the stars were out. A couple of the richest men in the world. Warren Buffett to the left, Bill Gates to the right. They are guests of LeBron James. And I wonder what goal LeBron has placed higher, becoming a billionaire, winning a gold medal, or winning an NBA championship. But that's the kind of company that LeBron James keeps. And it's great to have them here at the Thomas & Mack Center here in Las Vegas for the 2008 State Farm USA Basketball Challenge. Rick Hamler, Fran Fraschilla on the call, and there is LeBron. He is out with a sprained ankle. Not a big deal. He'll be ready to go when this team hits the ground in China.
Well, they had dinner last night, and I wonder who picked up the check. Which one of the billionaires and the soon-to-be billionaire. But LeBron can play, obviously. This is a mild sprain, but precautionary measure, just keeping him out.
Team USA, 29 of 41 points scored by the backcourt.
Got a chance to work LeBron's camp a few weeks ago, and talking to him, he's listed in the USA roster as 240, but he says he's 260 right now. And it's all muscle, 5% body fat.
Of course it's all muscle. Kobe to Wade, out to Paul. Into Wade, took the bump, no foul. We're mentioning they let him play in international play, and LeVon Kendall looked to commit a foul right there, but they let him play on, and it's cashed in by Olu Famatimi for 3.
Kendall, who played his basketball at Pitt, as you mentioned earlier. These guys are very accustomed to international play, FIBA rules, physical play. And if anything right now, take a look. You see Kendall just wall off Wade, and a good no call. And then Famutimi, a young man who played at Arkansas, who really is developing. He had a really good year in the Ukraine. Now, I know, Rick, not a lot of people keep up with Ukraine basketball, but he's a guy that'll move up in the European structure and maybe even get a chance to come back and play in the NBA.
That was a 2, not a 3 by Olu Famatimi. Carmelo, jab steps on Kendall, shoots it right in his eye.
Now, you mentioned jab step. Carmelo Anthony is one of the most fundamental players in the world. You talk about old school. He does everything fundamentally sound on the floor and has a terrific stroke.
Rowan Barrett. Tapped up by Anthony, taken by Wade, up ahead to Carmelo. Oh, it's a mellow mash. Carmelo Anthony now into double figures. He has 10 points on 4 of 6, and the largest lead for the United States, 45-30, under 5 minutes to go in the first half. And a block on Dwight Howard and a foul. Rowan Barrett draws it. Foul number 2 on D. Howitzer.
An example right there. Melo scoring from the perimeter and then getting out in transition and getting an easy one.
Points in the paint, heavy advantage for the U.S., 18-4. We do have fast break points, though, I'm happy to tell you. 4 for the U.S., 2 for Canada. Rowan Barrett at the stripe. He's played for the Canadian national team since 1998.
Played over 100 games, I believe, and I just missed coach.
I'm happy to tell you. 4 for the U.S., 2 for Canada. Rowan Barrett at the stripe. He's played for the Canadian national team since 1998.
Played over 100 games, I believe, and I just missed coaching Rowan by 1 year at St. John's, where he played for Brian Mahoney, a very good Big East player, and one of those guys that's made a very good living playing in Europe and getting a chance to represent his country one more time.
There's only so many jobs in the NBA, and if you can't play there, well, cross the Atlantic and go make that cash. Under 10 on the shot clock. Here's Wade. Back to Carmelo. Hit the heel. Kept alive by Howard in the hands of Routens. And out of bounds off of Canada. Turnover number 8. The U.S. had turned those into 11 points and potentially counting. Here's Chris Paul. Number 2 in MVP voting last year. Melo. That was a thunderous jam by Carmelo Anthony.
And how about this one? Last player to lead the NBA in assists and steals in the same year. Chris Paul did it this year. John Stockton back in 1992. And I saw John coaching his son this week here in Las Vegas. A lot of high school tournaments going on.
Traveling ball on Jesse Young. And speaking of milestones for Chris Paul, as Darren Williams and Michael Redd check back into the game. First player in the history of the NBA to go for at least 30 points and 10 assists in his first 2 playoff games. That's unbelievable.
Well, the maturity of Chris Paul really has struck me, and we mentioned the fact that he was the point guard, started 6 of the 9 games in the World Championships 2 years ago, and he was a very young player. And he's really adjusted, I think, to the physical play of international basketball to be that much more prepared.
Paul actually set a record in that tournament. He commits the foul right here on Kendall. 44 assists for Chris Paul, the most ever for a United States player at a World Championship. And obviously didn't play at the Tournament of the Americas because of an injury, but they are happy to have that dude back.
And it's interesting because for all the talk of Jason Kidd being a great team leader, which he is, and I mentioned that he only took 1 shot a game last year in the Tournament of Americas. It's important that at times you have a scoring point guard on the floor in international play, Rick, because otherwise you're going to see zones, and you're going to see some people really back off J-Kidd. So Mike Krzyzewski has the luxury of being able to go with Deron Williams and Chris Paul, two guys who not only are point guards, but also can put points on the board.
Tayshaun Prince into the game wearing number 14 in white. Chris Paul to Deron Williams. Pretty good defense right there by Routens, but he does commit the foul on D. Will. And Chris Bosh back into the game for USA. Dwight Howard will have a seat.
Andy Routens and Eric Devendorf will be back from injury for Jimmy Boeheim. So Syracuse Orange men looking up.
That was Routens' first foul. Michael Redd into Williams. And speaking of rich guys like Gates and Buffett and LeBron, this guy just became a whole lot richer from the Utah Jazz. Deron Williams just signed a hefty extension, and boy, is he deserving of that.
And Chris Paul right there with him, right? Two long-term extensions.
Are they joined at the hip? I mean, it's they're drafted, 3 and 4. They're going to be in competition for all-star spots throughout their career. They're in competition for the backup spot to Jason Kidd. They both just signed long-term contracts. And USA Basketball happy to have Chris Paul and Deron Williams, tremendous human beings and great basketball players. The United States leads by 16 here in their first of 5 exhibitions. We return to Las Vegas in a moment. USA Basketball leads 49-33. Chuck Daly, the head coach of the Dream Team back in 1992 when USA took gold in Barcelona. Chuck Daly, the coach of that team. Obviously the coach of those champion Detroit Piston teams back in the day, the Bad Boys. And the United States 28-1 in exhibition play since 1992 when they started using pro players with Chuck Daly. Their only loss back on August 3rd of 2004 against Italy.
That's right. Remember that game, the little Italian guards, quick players. It's interesting. Italy now building up. They're going to have a good young national team with Bellinelli and Gallinari, Bargnani. Look for them 4 and 8 years out.
Michael Redd.
Look for that guy.
This guy is dead-eye. There is no doubt about it. Shot 45% from 3 at the Tournament of the Americas last year. Did not have the typically high standard season that he has. Shot just 36% from three-point range during this past NBA season. Barrett the miss, tapped up and in by Levon Kendall. But a premium placed on shooting by Colangelo and Krzyzewski and everybody involved with USA Basketball, and Redd was an obvious choice.
Well, they did shoot as a team 47% last year in that Tournament of Americas. Carmelo Anthony outstanding from the international line. See, if there's anything going on right now, there's almost too much unselfishness by Team USA. A lot of the turnovers in this first half caused by guys who are supposed to be big-time scorers trying to make the unselfish play. That time you see Williams get all the way to the 10 and actually gets fouled. Should have gone up with the shot, and he will shoot the free throw.
Deron Williams will go to the line. He shoots one of the penalty.
Deron Williams at the stripe. A good look at his new beard. Not as thick as Baron Davis's famous beard, but both of these guys have become a lot healthier in the bank account this summer. Barrett signing a huge deal to go to the Los Angeles Clippers. That hack to Deron Williams' face was courtesy of Rowan Barrett. And D. Will says, thank you very much. I'll take the free throws. United States up 54-35.
Working on a little full court pressure right now. A lot of versatility on the floor right now. Team USA has a number of guys. You look at Wade, Prince, Bosh that can guard 3 and 4 positions on the floor.
And an offensive foul called on Famutimi. That is his second.
There was some concern, Rick, about the fact that Team USA doesn't have enough size, and you see Paul steps in very nicely. But I really think the way the international game is played, it's played from the outside in, unlike NBA and college where you try to get the ball into the lane. So you've got to have guys like Prince that can really defend 3 and 4 spots. Bosh can do it. Obviously, D. Wade, LeBron James. So I think the way this team is constructed, minus a major injury, is going to be fine because you really have to defend the perimeter.
It's interesting, and a foul there on Levon Kendall. No 7-footers on the United States roster. Dwight Howard, the biggest at 6'11". But as you've mentioned, and as people that know international basketball know, you can play 6'7", 6'8" guys, the power forward, and it is not a disadvantage for you at all. In fact, Coach K just said a while back that for us, LeBron can play the big, he can play the power forward, and we've already mentioned that Carmelo Anthony can ably play the 4 in international play.
No question. Keep in mind that LeBron has a mid-range jump shot NBA style, but Prince will get 3. Remember, LeBron is an inch shorter and the same weight as Karl Malone, who played power forward for many years. That's the kind of versatility. Yao Ming may be the one guy that they have to be concerned about, but remember, they can put great pressure on the China guards.
This ought to be fun. Williams up ahead to Paul. Oh, and Paul with the sleight of hand, and it's Bosh to Williams. 4 quick points for USA. And what about that pressure defense and one of your keys to the game?
Well, that's important, and that's where you can play the 2-point guards. And what I liked about Chris Paul is that he didn't look to pass it. The right play was to try to score, and he got to the rim.
It's all USA here in quarter number 2, but we're not done yet. .9 to go in the first half. And coming up at halftime on the Halftime Report, the Yankees and Pirates have pulled off a trade. We'll have the latest on the Brett Favre saga. And is Sasha Vujacic staying put in Los Angeles, or will he defect overseas? A la Josh Childress. You'll find out at the half. And it is English underneath drawing the foul. Dari Noka will have the halftime coverage in just a little bit.
We mentioned the defection of Josh Childress to the EuroLeague. Vujacic, Andris Biedrins of the Warriors mowing a deal to go over. So very interesting whether a trend is starting to take place. So one of the things fans don't realize about international basketball is the agent's fee is paid by the club, and the club also usually pays the taxes. So when you sign a $21 million deal, that's all your money.
Fran, coming up, red-hot Kyle Busch is in search of his 8th Sprint Cup Series win at the sport's most famous track, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Allstate 400 at the Brickyard on ESPN Sunday. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. Kyle Busch drives so many cars. We're going to see him on a trike one of these days. Chris Bosh from the baseline. Long. And a foul is called on Carl English. That is his 3rd. 12.5 seconds to go in the first half. And Michael Redd will go to the free throw line. 1 of 2 in this game from the stripe. He does have 7 points. A couple of 3-pointers. 73% shooting for USA Basketball. And what is up with Michael Redd from the free throw line?
It should be getting used to that shorter international line, not the free throw stripe. The man from Ohio State.
Here is Brempong. 10 seconds left, now under. Brempong drives, and he's fouled by Chris Bosh. CB now 12 on USA Basketball. One to the block, but he got the foul.
Brempong, one of those guys that plays over in Europe, plays in Germany right now. Actually, one of the few Canadian players that did not play collegiately in the United States.
Hits the first. His hometown is Brampton, Ontario. Played in Germany last year and led his team in blocks. 6'8", 207, 27-year-old power forward. And he nails them both. Last shot time for USA, and it is Chris Paul to Darren Williams. Off the front rim, and the rebound comes to Canada. And that's the end of the first half here in Las Vegas. The United States, 61 points on 71% shooting. And for Canada, 38 points on 38% shooting. And let's head to Bristol right now for the halftime report. We'll see you again for the 3rd quarter in just a little bit.